Gata for the sound of the bell. Mind calm, body at ease, breathing quiet, sentiment benevolent. Dharma friends, sitting still in vital silence, wanting nothing, we practice eco-Buddhism together. The sound of the temple bell booms for all to cease from conflict. May the way of Buddha usher in the dawn of non-violent global village forever. Here is the after sound of the bell. Thunder of silence, light after Dharma rain. Om Amoga Vairocana Mahamudra Mani Padma Shivala Pravartaya
Please stand and join in chanting of the refuges. We take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, first in Sino-Korean, in keeping with our tradition, and then in English. So please follow along, throw your voice in as best you can. I go for refuge to the Buddha
I go for refuge to the Buddha
and resolve with all beings.
and resolve with all beings.
I will cultivate a heart of enlightenment
I will cultivate a heart of enlightenment
and realize the great way.
and realize the great way.
I go for refuge to the Dharma
I go for refuge to the Dharma
and resolve with all beings.
and resolve with all beings.
I will penetrate the teachings
I will penetrate the teachings
and uncover oceans of wisdom.
and uncover oceans of wisdom.
I go for refuge to the Sangha
I go for refuge to the Sangha
and resolve with all beings.
and resolve with all beings.
I will seek peace and happiness for the many
I will seek peace and happiness for the many
and transform this world into Buddha lands unimpeded.
and transform this world into Buddha lands unimpeded.
Please return to your places for another shorter period of meditation. Please join me in some stretching as an end to our meditation practice. Remembering that to breathe as we do these stretches. Bringing energy into our bodies. Releasing any remaining tension from our sitting practice. Bring the eyes fully back, looking up at the ceiling. Stretching all the way out. Stretching the lower back. So please stand as we offer the unity candle for world peace. So this morning we will offer the candle to Chichang Kosal, the Bodhisattva who goes to the deepest, darkest places to help save all beings. And in this spirit of conflicts, recognizing and holding the suffering of those in conflict throughout the world, we offer this candle. So please now join me in making 3 vows. Opening the Buddha's heart. Opening the Buddha's mind. Opening Buddha's hands. And now as you sit, I invite you to move closer together. There are fewer of us. So let's see if we can fill like the first row, the second row. If you need a chair, and if you need assistance moving that chair, raise your hand and someone will come and help move the chair. Otherwise, try to sit on a mat and cushion or bring your chair close. That is much nicer. Thank you. I'll put it in my Right. How's the sound?
Good.
Very good. So what do you see that's different on the altar today?
Lots of glitter.
Lots of glitter. We have this beautiful snow globe that we are borrowing from Ilchi, one of our residents. She bought this as a gift for her mother, who loves these seasonal things. Unfortunately, her mother passed away a week ago. So she's sharing this with us. And not only is it a reminder of the preciousness of family and human life, but also Buddhists celebrate all holidays. And so that's why, even though we do not officially celebrate the birth of Christ, we celebrate the Christmas season. And so I hope you enjoy looking at this as we do. Yeah.
Not all holidays. I mean, I'm multi-religional, so like, that's something I'm down for, but I am also wondering how come.
How come? Because, we celebrate the joy of all beings. Yeah. At least that's my top of mind answer. Okay. So this morning, I would like us to have a conversation about Dana, D-A-N-A, which is the practice of giving, something very timely for this particular holiday season. So let's start with a little story. This comes to us from Karen Nathan Miller, who is a Buddhist teaching in another tradition. And this is a memory from her childhood. I begged my father to take me to the store. It was the day before Christmas, and I had nothing to give my mother except an art project I brought home from school. It was a picture made with painted macaroni. How embarrassing. Even in kindergarten, I knew it wasn't a real gift. It wasn't good enough. It wasn't the kind of thing anyone wants. Remembering it, I can still feel the full extent of a 5-year-old's self-criticism and shame. Dad took me to a convenience store and I emptied my piggy bank for a set of plastic drink coasters. One day, my mom cleaned under my bed and pulled out the macaroni picture from its hiding place. She showed it to me with questioning eyes. Now I know what she felt inside, her heart breaking with a sudden rush of tenderness for an injured child. The most profound gifts are the ones that don't measure up to any standard. They are not excellent or grand, but unexciting and ordinary. They may not look like gifts at all, but failures, no matter how they look, they carry the precious essence of life's true nature, which is love. So I want you now to think about a gift that maybe that you have received that you really treasure. What sort of wonderful gift would that be? And I'll give you a few examples. So this one says a drawing that John bought me and gave to me. And so I treasure it because it's handmade, and this mudra is the gesture of no fear. So another example might be a smile. The other day, this is Haru, who some of you may have met. She's a member from a very long time ago, and one of our priests, practicing priests from a while ago too. So she's here to visit her parents in Ann Arbor, and she always brings a smile. So this smile is a true gift. She is doing some research work in Africa, in Kenya, Uganda. And she, in order to do her work, she has to walk through these refugee camps. It's about 6 miles. So as she walks through the camp, she gives everybody a smile and a wave. And that's her gift of friendliness to them. So those are 2 examples of really good gifts. Does anybody else have an example on top of mind they want to share?
That's a very, very
Wait a minute. Hang on. Can't hear you.
My mom gave me a sort of a plastic and tilted, there was a light under it, and it helped me trace drawings, and I went on from there and I learned how to draw without it. I loved that. She gave me a few memorable creative gifts like that.
Yeah.
Helps the imagination.
Well, we're talking more about this later. So you can think of gifts that you received and how that made you feel, and then maybe also think about gifts that you have given. So sometimes maybe it's a donation to the temple, or sometimes it's a service that you did for other people, like the people I live with. We cover each other's scheduled duties when they're unable to. So these are some examples. So now I want to sort of expand our concept, our thinking about dana, because it is one of the paramitas. There are 6 paramitas, which are practices of perfection that we pursue in order to live these more enriched lives. So dana paramita, may I be generous and helpful. So if we look at Buddhism, here are some notions about dana. So the first is maybe focuses on what is being given. Is it goods, teachings, services? The offer of teachings, for example, is considered one of the most precious gifts. Another sort of categorization or frame of reference is based on intentions. So are your intentions pure, or are they sullied in some way? So one example of this, offered by a teacher, and he was in Hawaii walking down the beach with a friend. And this friend said, I just love to give. So that's contradictory message, right? So the intention there may in fact be to receive. And in this culture, we may call that codependency. So giving in order to receive. And what we would hope is more of a spirit of giving with no expectation of return. Are any of you secret Santas, or you know the practice of giving gifts secretly? So that would be an example of that. And then a third sort of conception is defining dana in terms of roles. So the temple is expected to give donations of clothing and medicine to the poor in traditional times. Monks offer the Dharma. Lay persons support the temples and the monks. So it's split up like that. But actually, dana can be much richer in these conceptions about gifts. This week we had staying with us a student from, now we've gotten stuck on Uganda, from Kenya, our student from Kenya. And as part of her stay with us, we were studying about the Paramita of Dana. And so some interesting thoughts that I would like to share with you. There's this wonderful book by Robert Aiken on the 6 paramitas. And so the ideas I'm sharing with you, a lot of them come from this book. So here's a quote from Emerson about what we call divine charity. The wind sows the seed. The sun evaporates the seed. The wind blows the vapor into the field. The rain feeds the plant. The plant feeds the animal. And so you see how this, it's a very sort of rich relationship. We can think about gift giving in this way. And then Aiken offers this, the very stars hold themselves on course through the mutual interchange of energy. So in Native American traditions, when there is a new chief, the whole tribe gives away a lot of precious possessions. And in fact, possessions are given away to each other on a regular basis, sort of passing the dana around, passing the gift giving around. And settlers, I don't think, really understood this. They sort of put this down as, they called it Indian giving. Well, you gave me that, but then you took it back and you gave it to somebody else. They didn't quite understand this aspect of gift giving. Aiken highlights the aspect of relinquishment. And we had an interesting discussion about this at our breakfast table. So when you think about giving something, it's, giving up something. Maybe, but what is it that you're giving up? So Hui Hai, who is a monk from the early years, said, what is this dana? It's a relinquishment of the dualism of opposites. Let me find the exact quote because it's quite a different thing. So a monk asked Hui Hai, by what means can the gateway of our school be entered? So he's asking, how can we practice Buddhism? Hui Hai said, by means of dana paramita. The monk said, according to the Buddha, the Bodhisattva path consists of 6 paramitas. Why have you mentioned only the one? Please explain why this one alone provides a sufficient means for us to enter. Hui Hai said, deluded people fail to understand that the other 5 all proceed from dana paramita, and that by its practice all others are fulfilled. The monk asked, why is it called dana paramita? Hui Hai said, dana means relinquishment. The monk asked, relinquishment of what? Hui Hai said, relinquishment of the dualism of opposites, which means relinquishment of the idea as the dual nature of good and bad, being and non-being, void and non-void, pure and impure, and so on. By a single act of relinquishment, everything is relinquished. I exhort you students to practice the way of relinquishment and nothing else, for it brings to perfection not only the other 5 paramitas, but also myriads of other practices. So when we think about something like relinquishment of the dualism of opposites, it might bring to mind a relinquishment of some of our fixed notions of things. One example that comes up more and more these days is younger people are not so stuck on these idea of who's male, who's female, these kinds of things. And we have one member in particular, a young person who is hairdresser, a valued member of the temple because he's been coming to Peace Camp for many years. And so this person presents themselves very feminine. The way that they dress, the profession that they choose, these kinds of things. But they identify very strongly as male. And so now we are getting used to saying he as opposed to she. So it's interesting to give up, relinquish this dualistic idea of male and female, and it opens a way for us to see each other in another and deeper way. So, yes, I encourage us to reflect on what relinquishment means to you. And yes, before we move on, because I do have some other notions that might be interesting. I'm going to, let's pass the microphone around a bit. So what have you relinquished recently? Let's start with an easy one. Well, you relinquished something by being here this morning and not being someplace else. You may have something deeper that you want to offer that you're relinquishing.
A few weeks ago, I was kind of struggling with this particular relationship in my life, and I was talking about it to a friend, and he offered maybe like a different perspective on what I was experiencing. And at first, my instinct was like, oh, that can't be right, because there was something about it that just felt like it was sort of challenging my perception of the situation. But I was also quite taken with it because I was sort of curious, like, well, what would it be like if I looked at it from the perspective that he was offering? That's kind of interesting. So I just kind of like turned that around in my mind for a few weeks and just kind of reflected on it. And while I didn't fully kind of like see his point, it did open up my perception of like what was going on in this relationship in a way that like was very helpful. So I think I relinquished my more narrow point of view, and it was helpful to have someone else kind of say like, what if it was like this instead? So
Tying that back to generous and helpful. Yes, there's a comment.
Hi. Something I relinquished lately was I was in a recovery meeting and somebody was talking about how they didn't want any non-Christians to shake their hand. They didn't want to deal with anybody that was not Christian, and it was really activating at first. But then I remembered when I would say I didn't want to interact with anyone that had conservative politics, and I did that through most of my early 20s, and I was able to like relinquish that anger, I guess, and relate to the point that I wish I would have gotten to a point sooner where I could see that everyone's human, and that even if I don't agree, I probably can have something that they can teach me, even if it's something I don't want to take into my practice.
I've been working on work in progress, relinquishing, feeling like I have to be the giver and caretaker in relationships. And what's coming in is I slowly achieve that sometimes is the wonderful gifts that I know have always been there. I'm starting to feel them and soak in. So it's a relinquishment and just opening to the bigger truth and observing a lot of wonderful things.
So this relinquishment of the idea of being a caretaker brings up another sort of interesting question. Two questions really. So one question is, as the giver, how do we take care of ourselves so that we don't burn out? And then the second question is, how do you avoid getting into this codependency kind of relationship when there's one person who's identified as the giver and one as the receiver. So I'm interested in any of your thoughts on that.
Clearly, I've been sitting in this realm for a while. So, but it just comes back to what you said about trying to let go of or open to the bigger truth than what we're raised in of the dualistic way of thinking of things. And the more I can just remind myself, it's not you or me, it's you and me. And it seems very simple, but it feels different.
For me, giving up control in a lot of situations is what actually true giving is. In particular, for the first time this year in decades, my two daughters are not getting along. And of course, I speak to both of them almost every day. And I feel like I get in this position of trying to control what I say so it's just right for that daughter, and to control what I say so it's just right for the other. And I try not to speak about the other one to the other one. But I'm finding this is twisting me in all kinds of contortions. And so I decided to just say whatever I feel like saying in the situation. In other words, just be more truthful, because I think I was just trying to control so much. Now, they have actually started to speak to each other once again. I don't know if it had anything to do with me being more candid. I would say, oh, I was talking to your sister yesterday. She's doing this and that, and back and forth. I was just trying to protect them from each other. Now they aren't protected from each other, at least by me, and seem to be much more spontaneous about trying to get that to be their best friends with each other. I had this idea that when I die, I would like my daughters to really be good friends for each other. They would continue on. And I think that doing it the way I've been doing it and trying to control doesn't work. So I'm giving up listening. It is just when I say stuff candidly, I get myself in more trouble. They disagree with me, or what do you mean, Mom? But I decided that it's better to do that than to be a tight butt. And control it.
So, Hutchinson, I think the example of control is a good one. And so the opposite, when we give up control, we're almost giving the gift of empowerment. And we're going through this in our temple right now. The leadership is aging out. And so giving up control means empowering the next generation to take over. So it's really sort of a gift that we're trying to give to people. And you find examples of this throughout history. John Quincy Adams is an example, who was president. They wanted him to continue to be president, but he said, no, I'm going to step aside and serve the rest of my life, this 18 remaining years it turned out, as a legislator, in order to sort of nurture the future generation. What other questions or comments do people have about gifts? This is such a big topic. I had trouble pulling it together. We have a comment back here.
Is letting go and surrender the same thing basically as relinquishment?
What do you think?
I think those terms can all be used synonymously.
What do you think?
He said they could be used synonymously.
You think, oh,
I think they're all basically different words for the same thing or the same process.
Uh-huh.
Letting go, surrender, relinquishment.
And I guess my question of you then is, how is that an act of generosity or dana in your life?
I guess letting go and surrendering my identification with things is basically giving up yourself, your idea of your false sense of yourself, your ego. Giving that up is kind of like the ultimate relinquishment, the ultimate letting go and surrender.
Mhm. Did you hear that, Hutchinson?
I did.
Okay. Mhm. So yeah, so that is definitely, that's moving to a more awakened state in which we can serve differently. Back to this idea of we're all interconnected. Okay, so trying to think how best to sort of bring this to the next, bring this maybe to a close for today. So I'm curious, how many of you now are going off this Christmas Eve and Christmas Day? How many of you are going to be engaged in some sort of gift giving? Okay. Lots of this. So as you reflect on this topic of dana in the context of gift giving with your families, is there something that you might do a little differently or a little special during this holiday season?
So we're not giving any physical gifts, really. We usually make donations to charity, or for our nephews, we give to their college fund, because everyone in our family is fortunate and has many material goods already. But I was just thinking, because we're going over to my father-in-law's house for dinner, and sometimes when you're around family, it can be hard to like make real conversation. I feel like it ends up being a lot of small talk, or just kind of everyone kind of like talking around each other in a sense, but not like really connecting, which I always feel is a little kind of lonely. But also I often, anticipating that dynamic, I don't make an effort as much as I could to feel like there's more of an authentic connection. So I was just thinking about maybe a gift for the dinner could be just be a little bit more present and a little bit more open to having a deeper conversation with people. So. Yes.
So I guess I should preface this by saying that this is a gift that I know that I will receive more from it than in the giving. We have a local treatment center where they will not be allowed to receive family
visits on Christmas Day, and there's a regularly scheduled recovery meeting on Monday, and I'm the one who's going to be there facilitating that meeting, and I am completely looking forward. I know that I will be receiving more by giving that gift of time and service and opportunity for community. So we're both going to get some out of it.
I guess this is both a gift for me and for everybody else, but I work in food service and I am fortunate enough to be friends with a lot of the other businesses and like around me, like the people who work there. They're my friends just as much as I am theirs. And I found out recently that one of the bars in the area was closing down and throwing out, I kid you not, my weight in limes. So I wasn't sure if any food pantry would ever take them because it was all in the garbage, but nothing was damaged. So I think the gift that I will be giving is I've been making all sorts of things with these. Like I've been making things like lime curd and treats, and I think tomorrow when I go to work, because I do work on the holidays, is I'm just going to be giving it to as many people as I can, especially the homeless people in the area that I know aren't going to have anybody to go home to for the holidays because they're out here. So that is the gift that I'm hoping to be giving to everybody. And it's both a gift to them, me, the environment, and also my family because there's still 100 pounds of limes in the house.
Looks like we might have an online comment. Sabong says, relinquishing the need for a certain outcome is difficult for me. So that's the comment on relinquishing. And she also says, good to see you, Haru.
Maybe I'll just say one thing. It seems like, I'll speak up.
There's always dishes. There's always the dishes and cleaning up and all of that. And a lot of times when I'm just feeling, I just go and wash dishes. And everybody appreciates it. And a lot of time people will just chip in. And so it's a beautiful together action. So I guess I would encourage dishwashing as a, as much as you can. It really is quite wonderful. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for your presence and your not PRESENTS, but PRESENCE, your presence here this morning, and for the gift of your wisdom. So please have a wonderful holiday, and let's close by saying the 4 great vows, and then we'll have some announcements. All beings, one body, I vow to liberate. Blind passions, one root, I vow to terminate. Dharma gates, one mind, I vow to penetrate. The great way of Buddha, I vow to realize.
So welcome everyone, especially to any people who are here for the first time. We have public services every Sunday at 10 a.m. and it's also live streamed on our YouTube channel. And then on the first and third Sunday of the month, we have an additional service that meets at 4 p.m. in person here. We also have an 8 p.m. online Sangha that you can get the link to on this flyer. The temple will have a recess from December 26th through January 6th, except for New Year's Eve service, which is next Sunday at this regular time of 10 a.m., and the New Year's Day service, which is a special service, which will be held that Monday the 1st at 11:30 a.m., so you can sleep in. We do have a winter long retreat, Youngman Junction, in Chicago and Mexico City from December 26th to 30th, and in Toronto from December 27th to January 1st, if you're interested. And the next one-day retreat, which is always held on a Saturday here in Ann Arbor, will be February 24th. We have a new introductory meditation class session beginning January 11th, which is 5 Thursday evenings, and then an overnight version of that January 19th and 20th. Yoga classes will start up again in January. There are sign-up sheets in the lobby for all of these things. And anything else you're looking to mention on?
You want to mention about this?
Oh, yes. We do have a gift for one of you lucky people, and that is this lovely grain bin, which needs a new home, if anyone would like to take it. You could keep cookies, rice, I don't know, lots of
Hershey Kisses.
Hershey Kisses, lots of opportunities. So this will be in the lobby. If you would like to take it home, you can just grab it. Recovery Dharma is meeting at noon.
Recovery Dharma will be meeting at noon next door in the historic Buddha Hall. At noon, we will also be having a meeting for those who have a difficult time on Christmas at 1 o'clock Christmas Day. And next Sunday will be 100% Zoom. It will be a meeting that will be there will be no in-person, just Zoom.
The temple is entirely supported by your kind donations of time and money. If you would like to make a financial contribution, there's a fishbowl in the lobby. You can also always donate your time. There's lots of work practice groups that meet throughout the week, as well as other opportunities. So you can ask any one of us wearing the gray clothes if you are interested.
I don't know if all of you know that we've had a fundraising campaign going on, and we're trying to raise $25,000 for letter rental. It's in the period about 6 or 8 weeks ago. And we are at Moms at Bahamas, the accounting, at about $18,000. So we're really grateful to everyone who has been able to contribute. These things are going toward a new sidewalk, contributing to our children's program, which is always growing, and to help a couple of situations. One in the Chicago temple, doing a big renovation, and on a farm where there's a lot of building going on. So if you haven't contributed and are still able to, we would appreciate that. There's some forms in the hallway to fill out and a little envelope for checks. It can also be charged. Use charge cards. Anyway, the most important thing is that you turn up, and if you ever have extra that you can help in to support in this way. It's very much
Okay. That's okay, I don't much need it anymore anyways. So let's all stand and we'll close with 3 formal bows to the Buddha.
So please care for your mat and cushion as you stand up.
Good morning. Morning. Morning, Marco.
Yeah, I got some in my car. Sure. No, the washing ones too. I could go to my car and bring them back, and you guys can go read them. I'll take them for a retreat in Chicago.
Good morning. Next one. What's your name?
Yeah.
Caitlin. Morning, Caitlin.
No, we've got here before, but I've been in school, so I think if anybody else would like lines, I have them in like a little bag, so that I can give as many people who want lines as possible. So I will be back.
All right.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yes. You're a regular now.
I think I love their life.
You just like with us. That's good.
It happens sometimes.
Oh,
Town until January 23rd. Okay. Yeah, I drove up here, so I have some.
no.